The thing that I think is really going to accelerate, as I said at the beginning, is convergence. You know, now we're doing it for individual buildings. So we can take a building, we can see what's around it using geospatial. We can do sustainability analysis on it to see what its CO2 emissions are going to be, how much water it's going to use, energy, and so on. But I think, you know, what you're going to see is that we're going to be able to do this on a city level. We're going to be able to model entire cities. And I don't mean just what you'd see in Google 3D, for example, but actually intelligent models where we know what the infrastructure is. We know that when we decide we're going to build a new development somewhere, we can see what the impact will be on the transportation system, on energy, on how much energy is going to be required, telecommunications, and so on. That's what I mean by putting intelligence into these models. And people are starting to do this for, like I said, for entire cities or entire urban environments. You can, for example, there is an LED certification, which is a sustainability certification that you can do for an entire neighborhood. And you need tools to be able to do that. And those tools are now starting to happen. I think the challenge is the volume of data you're talking about. We're talking about having the entire power system for District of Columbia, for example, the entire telecommunications, all the water and wastewater systems, plus the transportation system, and so on, being accessible in digital form and in vector form, not just imagery, so that you can actually model what the impact of various things are. So that's the first thing I think that's happened. The second thing is cloud computing, and Mike's already talked about this, but I mean, this is happening everywhere. And I think it's driven exactly by what Mike mentioned is mobile. I mean, you want to do everything on your iPhone or your Android phone, and it doesn't have a tremendous amount of computing power compared to what you have on your servers. For example, now you can run AutoCAD over the web. It used to be you had this a big application that ran on your desktop or your PC or your laptop. Now you can run that over the web. So you're doing AutoCAD over the web with almost the same response time that you would have had on your PC, which is incredible. And the third thing I mentioned is just and this refers to some of the things that Steve is involved in, is the things that are being done with digital imagery. I work with a lot of utilities. In the past, if they wanted to do an inspection of poles or anything else, they had to send a truck out. Somebody had to actually physically walk to the pole, look up, and look down a manhole. Now, with the digital imagery, the precision is getting so high. There's oblique imagery, street view that Mike referred to. As a utility, you almost don't have to send a truck out. Certainly, not anywhere near as much as you used to. I'd put it this way, 80% of the time you don't have to send a truck out now, and that dramatically reduces your costs. So those are some of the exciting things.